Hey everyone, and welcome back. If you're a Canadian investor, I know the question that keeps buzzing in your head: should I invest in Canadian stocks? Or is it just a sentimental mistake when the US market seems to win year after year? Look, for the last decade, the TSX and S&P 500 has been the runaway champion, largely thanks to the tech boom. But I'm here to tell you that in 2025, dismissing the Canadian market would be a massive miscalculation. Why? Because the narrative is changing. As of November 2025, the TSX Composite Index is actually up over 22% year to date, putting us ahead of the S&P 500's return of about 14%. This isn't about patriotism, it's about smart, diversified, and tax-efficient wealth building that capitalizes on a shifting global economy. Let's dive into the real data and the current market sentiment driving this change. The identity of the TSX, value and income. First, let's look at what the TSX actually is, because its composition is completely different from the US. The reason I invest in Canada is to gain exposure to sectors that offer stability, income, and are now trading at a deep discount. As of the latest data, Q4 2025, the TSX has an undeniable structural identity. See that huge difference? When I buy the TSX, I'm making a strategic bet on two things: stable regulated banking. Our big six banks are global institutions that are heavily regulated and offer high, reliable dividend yields. Global commodities. When I see the prices of oil, gas, gold, and copper rising, I know the Canadian index is positioned to outperform. This year, the material sector alone has been a huge driver, powered by that ongoing run up in gold prices. The key takeaway? While the US is a tech growth engine trading at a massive premium, the TSX is a value and dividend powerhouse. The compelling case for Canadian stocks in 2025. The current sentiment among market analysts is clear. Canadian equities are attractively valued and look compelling right now. Deep valuation discount. As of Q4 2025, the TSX trades at a forward price to earnings PE ratio of roughly 17 times, while the S&P 500 is trading closer to 23 times. That's a massive discount of about 25% compared to the US market, significantly wider than the historical average. I can buy Canadian earnings for cheaper, superior income stream. For an income-focused investor, the difference is night and day. The S&P 500 generally has a dividend yield of around 1.5%, while the TSX is consistently yielding higher, often in the 3.0% to 3.5% range. Those Canadian dividends compound much faster. My strategy: tax efficiency and portfolio stability. The final and most crucial reason I maintain a Canadian core is purely strategic: taxation and risk management. Currency and tax advantage as a Canadian. Holding my core dividend stocks in my TFSA or RRSP is pure genius. I eliminate foreign currency risk on my core holdings, and because these are Canadian companies, there is no foreign withholding tax on the dividends. I get to keep every single cent of that higher dividend income. The diversification hedge, the S&P 500's fantastic return this year, has been heavily concentrated in just a few mega cap tech names. That's a huge concentration risk. The TSX, built on banks and materials, acts as a natural hedge. When the US tech rally eventually stalls or reverses, the Canadian market is positioned to provide vital stability and potentially outperform, as it is doing so far in 2025. My final verdict: do I put all my money in Canadian stocks? Absolutely not. You have to be globally diversified. But the definitive answer to the question, should I invest in Canadian stocks, is an emphatic yes, as a crucial core component. My target is to allocate 25% to 30% of my total equity portfolio to the Canadian market to capitalize on that fantastic value, superior dividend yield, and vital tax efficiency. I do this simply using a low-cost, broad market ETF like VCN or XIC. Don't ignore the home team, especially when they are offering attractive valuations and providing a crucial anchor of stability and income for your long-term portfolio. What percentage of your portfolio is currently allocated to the Canadian market? Let me know in the comments below. If you want to see a deep dive into my top 3 Canadian dividend stocks, hit that like button.